She fell from the sky. The sky was dark, but clear. Stars shined above the forest. Jason was outside his small wooden cabin. He lived alone in the mountains, far from the city. He liked the quiet. No people, no noise, just nature. He sat on the porch, drinking warm coffee. It was almost midnight. Suddenly, he saw something strange in the sky. A bright light, like a falling star, flashed across the sky, but faster and brighter. It wasn't normal. Jason stood up, eyes wide. Then came a loud sound. Boom! The ground shook for a moment. Birds flew out from the trees. Jason grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the sound. After 10 minutes of walking, he reached the edge of the forest. Smoke was rising from the trees. Something had crashed there. Jason moved carefully. He saw broken branches and a trail of fire. His heart beat faster than he saw it. A silver pod, half buried in the ground, hot and cracked. It looked like a small spaceship. It was not from Earth. Jason stepped closer. The pod hissed, and steam came out. One side opened slowly with a click. Inside was a girl. She looked human, but not fully. Her skin had a soft blue glow. Her hair was white, almost shining. Strange patterns moved on her arms, like small lights. Her eyes were closed. She looked weak. Jason knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he said. She opened her eyes slowly. They were silver, glowing. She tried to speak. Don, Gare, she whispered. Then she fainted. Jason didn't know what to do, but he couldn't leave her here. She was hurt. Alone. And clearly not from this world. He lifted her carefully. She was light, like a feather. Then he carried her back to his cabin. Jason laid her on the couch and covered her with a blanket. She was still breathing, but her skin was cold. He turned on the heater. She moved a little. Her skin began to glow brighter near her hands. Jason noticed something. When her hand touched a glass of water on the table, the water began to move, slowly rising like a bubble, floating in the air. "What the hell?" Jason whispered. He stepped back, afraid but curious. The girl opened her eyes again. She looked at Jason. "Water," she said softly. Jason helped her up. "Come with me," he said. He took her outside, to the backyard, where he had a small pool. It was heated, clean, and peaceful. Steam rose from the warm water. She looked at the water, like it was calling to her. Without a word, she walked slowly into the pool. The water touched her skin, and her body began to glow brighter. She closed her eyes and floated on the surface, like she was sleeping. Jason watched from a distance, confused but amazed. The pool began to change color from blue to green, then to silver. Light moved through the water in patterns, like stars in space. Jason couldn't believe what he was seeing. Hours passed. It was now morning. The girl was still in the pool, calm and silent. Her body had healed. The cuts on her skin were gone. Jason made breakfast and waited. He had a million questions. Finally, she came out of the water. Her hair was dry, her skin glowing gently. She looked stronger now, healthier. Jason gave her a towel. "Who are you?" he asked. She sat down on a chair near the pool. "My name is Kylira," she said in a soft voice. "Where are you from?" She looked up at the sky. "Far, far away. I came here to hide." Jason blinked. "Hide from what?" She didn't answer. She just looked at him with those glowing silver eyes. Then she said something that made Jason feel cold. "They will come. They always do." Jason stepped back. Who will come?" She looked at the pool. "My people. They built me. Now they want to destroy me." Jason felt a chill in the air. Even though the sun was shining, he didn't know what he had just brought into his home. But deep inside, he knew one thing. This was just the beginning. Morning sunlight touched the mountain trees, and a cold wind passed over Jason's cabin. But the pool in the backyard still shimmered, not with light from the sun, but something deeper. Kylira stood quietly beside the water, wrapped in a blanket. Her silver eyes stared at her reflection. The surface rippled, even though the air was still. Jason stepped outside with a cup of tea. He handed it to her. "Thanks," she said softly, holding it with both hands. Jason looked at her glowing skin, strange patterns on her neck, and those eyes that never blinked too long. "You said you were hiding," he said. "Hiding from your own people." Kylira didn't look at him. "I am not like them anymore. That is why they fear me." Jason didn't understand, but he knew something was wrong, something deeper than her glowing body, or falling from the sky. Later that day, Jason went into town to get supplies. He told Kylira to stay hidden. When he returned in the afternoon, he heard sounds from the backyard. The pool was glowing again, this time brighter than before. Light danced on the trees. Birds stayed far away. Jason ran toward the pool. Kalira was in the water, floating, her body still and her eyes closed. But her skin was brighter now, as if the water was charging her suddenly. The water lifted her slowly into the air, only a few inches, and held her there, like invisible hands. Her hair flowed around her head, as if underwater. Jason froze. Then Kalira's voice echoed, not loud, but clear. She wasn't speaking to him. She was speaking to the pool. In a strange language, her words floated in the air like a song. The water responded, bubbling, changing color, then turning completely still like glass dot. Then her eyes opened, and they were no longer silver. They were white, pure white. Jason stepped back. Kalida. She slowly turned her head. For a moment, she didn't recognize him. Then the light faded, and she gently sank back into the pool. Jason rushed to the edge. What was that? Kalira looked tired. The water here is different, but it listens. What does that mean? Kalira walked out slowly. Steam rose off her skin. It remembers. It sees what you cannot. Jason didn't ask more. He felt like the answers were too big. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He heard soft sounds coming from outside, whispers, like voices underwater. He walked out quietly. The moon was high. Kalira was by the pool again, her hand in the water. She didn't notice him. The water was moving on its own, spinning. In a slow circle, Jason stepped closer. What are you doing? She pulled her hand back quickly. The water stopped. I was listening, she said. To what? She looked at the sky. To what's coming? Jason felt a chill. You mean, your people? She nodded. They searched the stars for me. They left a tracker inside my ship. It won't take them long now. Jason looked at the pool. And this helps you. Prepare. Kalira paused. This helps me stay me. The next morning, Jason noticed something strange in the backyard. Near the edge of the pool, grass had grown longer, much longer, and greener than the rest. Flowers bloomed, even though it wasn't the season. Small insects buzzed in the air, drawn to something they couldn't understand. He touched one of the flowers. It glowed faintly. Jason stepped back. He turned to Kalira, who stood near the trees, watching the sky. What's happening to the land? Kalira didn't answer at first. Then she said, the pool connects to me. When I connect to it, things grow. Time moves. Different. Jason was quiet. Are you dangerous? Kalira turned her head. Would you still help me? I said yes. Jason looked at her for a long time. I don't know. That evening, as the sun began to set, Jason tried to fix an old drone camera he used for forest monitoring. He powered it on and flew it over the house. Suddenly, the drone screen showed something unexpected. From above, the pool didn't look normal anymore. It was shaped like an eye, a giant glowing eye, with rings of light spinning slowly around it. Jason blinked. The pattern was too perfect, too alive. He looked at Kalira, who sat near the pool, silent. Kalira, he said slowly, what exactly are you? She looked at him, her face unreadable. Then she said 3 quiet words. I am changing. Jason didn't sleep that night. And neither did the pool. Its glow never faded, and in the forest, something else had started to wake up. Jason didn't trust the silence anymore. For the last 2 nights, the forest around his cabin had felt different, like something was watching from the trees. The air was heavy. Even the animals were gone. No birds, no sounds. Only the pool glowed quietly behind the cabin. It never stopped glowing now. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Kalira spent most of her time near the water, sitting with her knees pulled close. She didn't talk much, and when she did, her voice sounded distant, like she was somewhere far away. Jason stepped outside that morning with a flashlight. The sun had barely risen. Fog covered the trees like a thick curtain. He walked toward the edge of the forest to check the crash site again. The pod was still there, buried in dirt and leaves. Its metal surface had gone dark, cold, but something had changed around it. Jason bent down and noticed deep marks in the soil, long scratches, 4 lines, straight and sharp, like claws. His stomach tightened. He looked around quickly, but the fog made it hard to see. His own breath sounded too loud. He took a photo of the claw marks with his phone and backed away. Heart racing. Back at the cabin, Kalira was waiting. She turned her head before Jason even stepped inside, as if she had already heard him from far away. I found something, Jason said. Claw marks. Like something walked away from your ship. Kalira closed her eyes. They found me. Jason froze. Your people. Kalira shook her head slowly. No, not yet. But the ones they sent first. The scanners. Machines. That smell power. They follow the trail of energy I leave behind. Jason remembered the pool glowing. The grass growing fast. The flowers that shouldn't exist. You mean they can track you through this place? Yes, Kalira said. They may already be near. That night, Jason set up small lights around the cabin. He checked the doors, loaded his old hunting rifle, and waited. Kalira stayed by the pool again, this time floating just under the surface. Her eyes were closed. Her body glowed a soft silver-blue dot. Jason sat on the porch, watching the trees. Then, just past midnight, he saw a dot movement. Something tall, walking between the trees. Too fast, too smooth. Jason turned off the porch light and crouched. The thing came closer. Its body was thin, dark, like black metal. No face, no mouth. Just a round red eye glowing in the center of its head. It stopped near the pool and tilted its head. Jason raised the rifle, but before he could shoot, the pool exploded with light. Boom. A wave of energy pushed outward. The ground shook. Kalira stood in the center of the pool, glowing brighter than ever. Her voice echoed through the air. Not loud, but powerful. Stay away. The creature turned its red eye toward her. Its arms turned into sharp blades. Jason fired. The shot hit the creature in the shoulder. It didn't scream, it didn't even bleed, but it turned to Jason. Now then, Kalira raised her hand. The water in the pool rose like a giant serpent and slammed into the creature, throwing it into a tree. The tree cracked. The thing fell, but it wasn't broken. It stood again. Kalira looked at Jason. There's more. Suddenly, 3 more red lights appeared in the forest. Jason's voice was tight. They're not going to stop, are they? Kalira stepped out of the water. Her skin now shimmered like glass. No, they're just scouts. The real hunters. Come after. Jason and Kalira moved back into the cabin. He locked the doors. She stood near the window, breathing slowly. I thought you said you were hiding, Jason said. I was, she answered, but I stayed too long. I got too close to the water. I let it wake me. Jason looked outside again. What do they want from you? Kalira didn't answer for a moment. Then she said something that made Jason's blood turn cold. They don't want to take me back. They want to end me before I become something worse. Jason stepped closer. What does that mean? Kalira looked him in the eyes. They planted something inside me. A living weapon. I was made for war. But I escaped. I chose peace. Now the weapon grows without command. Jason backed away slowly. So, you're dangerous. She nodded. Not yet, but soon. Outside, the red lights had vanished. The machines were gone. But Jason knew it was only the beginning. He stared at Kalira. Then what do we do now? She walked toward the pool again. We prepare, she said. She stepped into the water, and the forest began to whisper. The pool wasn't water anymore. Jason stood at the edge, frozen. The surface no longer rippled with waves. It was smooth, like glass, and it pulsed with a slow silver light. It looked alive. It felt alive. Kalira floated just beneath it, her body glowing from within. Her hair moved like it was underwater, even though the pool was still. Her arms were outstretched, and her mouth moved, whispering to something Jason couldn't hear. He stepped back, unsure. The last 2 days had changed everything. First the machines. Now this. He wanted to believe Kalira was still in control, still the same girl who had fallen from the sky. But something was shifting inside her, and it wasn't just fear, it was power. Too much power. That night, Jason woke to a loud hum. Not a sound from outside, it was coming from inside the walls. A deep vibration that made the lights flicker. He grabbed his flashlight and walked out to the backyard. The pool was glowing white now. Not soft, not calm, blinding. The air above it shimmered like heat rising from fire. Kalira stood at the center, but her feet weren't touching the water. She was floating. Jason's heart thudded. Kalira, she didn't answer. Her eyes were wide, open, but glowing white. Her arms were spread, and light poured out from her chest, like rays from the sun. The wind picked up, leaves flew across the yard. Trees bent toward the pool. Jason stepped closer. Kalira, come down. Suddenly, he spoke, but her voice wasn't hers. It echoed, deep, layered. The key is broken. The core is breathing. Jason's eyes widened. What does that mean? She dropped back into the pool with a splash. The light faded. Silence. Jason rushed to the edge. She was floating again. but this time face down. He jumped in and pulled her out. Her body was hot, burning hot. She opened her eyes and whispered, weakly, "I'm sorry. I couldn't stop it." Inside the cabin, Jason wrapped her in a blanket. She sat by the fire, shivering even though her skin was warm. "What happened?" he asked. Kylira looked at him, tears in her glowing eyes. "I lost time," she said. "It took control. Just for a moment. But next time, it will be longer." Jason sat across from her. "What is it?" "The thing inside you." Kylira stared at the flames. "It's a core, a power made for war. A living engine. They planted it in me to destroy worlds, planets, cities. But I broke away before it activated. Now it's waking up on its own." Jason stood. "Then let's shut it down. Rip it out. Kill it." Kylira smiled sadly. "It's not a machine, Jason. It's me. My body is just the shell. The core is waking up through me." Jason clenched his fists. "There must be a way." Kylira looked down. "There is one. But you won't like it." Later that evening, Jason brought out the strange black device they had recovered from the crash site. A small alien object with glowing symbols. Kylira called it the containment key, the only thing that could hold the core's power back. She placed it against her chest. The lights on the device flashed, then dimmed. She gasped and fell to one knee. Jason ran to her. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "It worked. For now. But I can't hold it much longer." Outside, the sky had darkened unnaturally. Clouds circled overhead like a storm was coming, but no wind, no rain. Just pressure. Something in the air had changed. Jason looked out the window. His voice was low. "They know, don't they?" Kylira closed her eyes. "Yes." The core's energy reached them. "The hunters are coming." Jason stared at the pool, now dark and quiet. But it wouldn't last. That night, Kylira asked Jason for something unexpected. "Lock me in the pool," she said. "If I lose control again, the water will delay the change. Buy us time." Jason hesitated. "What if you drown?" She smiled. "I won't. The pool and I are linked now. It understands me." So Jason built a cover from metal sheets and chains. Heavy, secure. Kylira floated into the pool willingly. She lay still on the surface. Glowing soft blue dot. Jason locked the cover down. Midnight came, and Kylira screamed. Not in fear, in rage. The pool exploded in light. The chains snapped like paper. Water shot into the air. The trees bent backward from the blast. Jason ran outside. Kylira was in the air again. Her skin cracked with lines of white fire. Her eyes burned like stars. She saw Jason. And for a split second, she didn't recognize him. Jason raised his voice. "Kylira, it's me." She dropped suddenly, like something pulled her down. The light faded. She landed in the pool, unconscious. Jason rushed forward, shaking. He whispered, "What are you becoming?" Kylira didn't wake up for 6 hours. Jason sat beside the pool, watching her float. The water had calmed, but he hadn't. His hands were shaking. His heart still beat too fast. The blast from the night before had broken trees, melted metal, and nearly blinded him. And Kylira had not looked human when it happened. She had looked like something made from energy, like a living storm inside a girl's body. Jason didn't know if the Kylira he cared about was still inside. Just before sunrise, her eyes opened. They were not glowing this time, just silver, soft, scared. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. Jason didn't speak. He just sat there, waiting. Kylira slowly sat up on the pool's edge. Her skin steamed, and small cracks of light faded across her arms. "I felt it again," she said. "The core. It's learning how to take me, piece by piece." Jason looked at her. "Then tell me everything. I want to understand what you really are." Kylira looked at the sky. "There was once a planet called Prime," she began. "It was ruled by science, not war. But when other worlds began to conquer nearby systems, Vexery changed. They built weapons. But not machines, living ones." She placed her hand on her chest. "I was one of them. Not born, grown, designed. To carry the Nova Core, the deadliest energy known to their kind. If released, it could destroy entire cities in seconds." Jason whispered, "You're a bomb." Kylira shook her head. "No. I was the guidance system. The bomb was inside me," she continued, her voice shaking. "They trained me, controlled me, taught me how to obey. But they made a mistake. They gave me memory, emotion, identity. I began to ask questions. I didn't want to kill. I wanted to be more than a tool." Jason watched her carefully. "So you escaped?" "Yes. she said. I broke the lab's shields and stole a scout pod. I was hurt, but I survived. And now, she added, the core is waking up. Without their control. Jason stood. So the core. It's alive. Kalira nodded. Yes, and it's becoming aware. Every time I sleep, it dreams. Every time I'm afraid, it grows. She looked at him with guilt in her eyes. If I lose myself completely, it will burn everything around me, even you. Jason didn't step back. He took a deep breath. Then we have to stop it. There must be a way to shut it down. Kalira looked down. There is one. The core has a final lock, one that can only be activated by someone I trust. Fully. Jason raised an eyebrow. Me. Kalira nodded. But there's a risk. If the lock fails, it might explode. Later that day, Kalira gave Jason the containment key again. This time, it pulsed faster in his hand. The key reads energy through emotion, she explained. If your heart turns against me, it will know. Jason stared at the key. So, if I feel fear, doubt, anything like that. She finished the sentence. It might trigger the core. Jason exhaled slowly. This just keeps getting better. Kalira smiled for the first time in days. That night, the sky above the forest changed. A crack appeared between the stars. A black line, long and silent dot. Then came the hum dot deep, low, endless dot. Jason looked up. What is that? Kalira didn't move. Their ship. They're here. Jason's heart dropped. You mean the Vex? Sorry, Kalira's voice was flat. Yes. They won't land. Not yet. First, they'll scan. Then they'll send ground units to test me. If they sense I've bonded to Earth, they'll destroy the planet, not just me. Jason stared at her. Why would they destroy Earth? Because if I belong to this world, she said, then the core will protect it. And the core cannot belong to anyone. A loud click broke the silence. Jason had locked a containment key onto Kalira's chest again. This time, it glowed brighter. She closed her eyes and gasped. Jason held her hands. I'm here. I'm not afraid. Kalira opened her eyes. Then the core believes you. A new light formed behind her back, a soft ring, floating in the air. It spun slowly. Calmly. Jason blinked. What is that? Kalira smiled. It means, for now, I'm safe. But even as she spoke those words, the trees behind the cabin burst into flame. A machine stepped out of the smoke. Tall, black, sharp. It had no face. Only a crackling sphere of red energy where a head should be. Jason raised his rifle. Kalira stepped in front of him. No, she said. This time, let me protect you. She raised her hand. The ring behind her spun faster. Then a beam of light shot forward, not to destroy, but to push the machine back into the fire. It screamed. Not with a voice, but through the ground. Kalira stood firm. Jason realized something in that moment. She was not a weapon. She was choosing to be a shield. The sky tore open at midnight. No lightning, no thunder. Just silence. A black line widened above the earth, like someone had drawn a crack in space. Then, through that crack, something massive drifted out. Dark, smooth, silent, a ship the size of a mountain. Jason watched from the hill. Behind the cabin, he could barely breathe. They're here, Kalira said. Her voice was calm, but her body shook slightly. The containment ring behind her glowed, spinning slow and steady, holding the core inside her, just barely in balance. Jason turned to her. Is that the Vexery flagship? She nodded once. They call it the Judgment Carrier. It never lands, it only watches, and gives orders to destroy. Back in the cabin, Kalira knelt by the pool. The water connects me to Earth. She said it helps me remember who I am, but it also helps them find me faster. Jason paced nervously. Then we leave. Kalira looked up. There's no point running. They won't stop until I'm gone. Jason clenched his fists. Or until Earth is ash. Kalira closed her eyes. Yes. She dipped her fingers into the pool. The water shimmered, and then an image appeared on the surface. The forest, the sky, the ship, and then motion. Shadows dropping from above. Jason leaned in. What is that? Hunters, Kalira said. Vexery ground soldiers. They look for weakness. If they sense the core is unstable, they'll strike. Jason grabbed his rifle. Then we don't show weakness. Kalira looked at him sadly. This won't be like before. These are not scouts. These are assassins. Within an hour, they arrived. 4 of them. Tall, insect-like creatures with black armor that moved like skin. They didn't walk. They glided over the ground. Each one had a glowing symbol on its chest. Red for command, blue for speed, green for scan, and white for execution. Jason hid behind a tree, watching through the scope of his rifle. Kalira stood in the open, near the pool, her arms at her sides. "They want me," she said. "Not you. But if you interfere, they'll kill you too." Jason whispered, "Let them try." The hunters approached, surrounding the yard. They didn't speak. Their eyes were beams of light, scanning Kyra, measuring her power, reading her heartbeat, her temperature, her fear. Then the red one stepped forward. It raised its arm. Jason aimed. "Wait," Kyra said softly. "Let them scan. Let them see." Jason paused. Confused, Confusa took a breath. Her containment ring spun faster. Her skin began to glow again, soft at first, then brighter. Her hair lifted as the energy inside her stirred. "I am not your weapon," she whispered. "I am not your tool." The hunters froze. The white one stepped forward. Then it spoke. Not with sound, but directly into Jason's head. "Core detected. Power integration, 78%. Host instability zone. Termination. Protocol activated." Jason winced at the pressure in his skull. "What was that?" Kalira's voice grew louder. "They think I'm still property. Still under their rules." Her eyes lit up. "I'm not." She raised both hands. The pool behind her rose like a wave, not of water, but of light. The hunters opened their arms, weapons forming from their bodies. The wave crashed forward. It hit all 4 hunters at once, sending them flying into the trees. Jason ran toward her. "Kalira, are you okay?" She was breathing hard. Her legs shook. "The core is waking up faster," she said. "It's learning how to fight without asking me." Jason supported her. "Then we stop now. We run. You shut it down." Kalira looked at him with pain in her eyes. "I can't shut it down anymore." Just then, the sky flickered. The ship above opened a section beneath its belly. A long, sharp structure began to lower, like a giant needle dot. Jason pointed up. "What's that?" Kalira's face turned pale. "Planet drill. They use it to destroy life. From the inside, they think I've merged with Earth." Jason stepped back. "So they'll kill the entire planet, just to stop you?" Kalira nodded. "And they won't miss." Jason shook his head. "There must be another way." Looked into his eyes. "There is." She stepped back, into the pool. The light surrounded her. "I can go to them. Let the core release inside their ship. One blast will destroy them, and me." Jason grabbed her hand. "No." Kalira smiled, gently. "It's the only way." Jason's voice cracked. "There's always another way." Kalira looked up at the sky, at the ship that had hunted her across stars. "I was made to destroy," she said. "But maybe I was also made to choose." Jason pulled her close. "Then choose us." Before either could say more, the sky exploded. With a beam of red light, the planet drill was powering up. Kalira looked up at Jason. "If I don't go, everything dies." Jason swallowed hard. "Then we go together." The sky above Earth had never looked so close to ending. The judgment carrier hovered above the forest like a silent god. Its planet drill was halfway down now, glowing red, charging with quiet fury. Trees below it bent and cracked. The wind howled in all directions. Jason stood beside Kalira at the edge of the pool. His hands trembled, but his eyes stayed locked on hers. "You don't have to do this," he said. "There's still time. We can hide. We can fight." Kalira shook her head. "This core inside me, it was made for one thing. I can't change that." "Yes, you can," Jason whispered. "You already did." Her silver eyes searched his face. "I'm scared," she said. He stepped closer. "Good. That means you're not a weapon. You're a person." She looked up at the sky. The beam had started glowing brighter, spreading heat through the clouds. "They'll erase this world," she said, "just because I touched it." She stepped into the pool for the last time. Light rose around her feet, climbing up her body like a flame in slow motion. Jason followed, walking into the pool until the water reached his knees. Kalira raised her hand, placing the containment key into Jason's palm. "This is the last command," she said. "If the core overloads, you use this to end me." Jason looked at her in shock. "I'm not doing that." "You must," she said. "If I lose control, you press it. Otherwise, Earth dies." Jason clenched his jaw. "Then you better stay in control." Kalira smiled, not glowing, not radiant, just soft. Human dot. The ground shook dot above them. The sky cracked as the drill powered up to its final stage. Kalira turned her eyes upward. The ring behind her spun into a full halo, shining like a newborn star. "I'm ready," she said. Jason whispered, "Don't say goodbye." She touched his chest, just above his heart. "I'm not saying goodbye," she said. "I'm saying thank you for reminding me I'm more than they made me to be." Then she flew straight into the sky. The ship reacted instantly. Weapons unfolded. Red shields spread across its surface. Energy pulses targeted her path. But Kalira flew faster than light, a streak of silver through the dark. Inside the ship, alarms blared. The Vexery scrambled. Jason watched from Earth, breathless, the containment key still clutched in his hand. Kalira reached the heart of the ship, a black chamber filled with glowing code and pulsing circuits. The AI recognized her immediately. Core unit detected. Self-destruct protocol initiated. But Kalira didn't run. She floated to the center and opened her arms. The core inside her awakened fully for the first and last time. Her body glowed white, then gold, then beyond color. She became a sun, a force of pure will, and she chose not to destroy, but to rewrite. Jason stared up at the ship, expecting to see fire. Instead, the drill faded, the hum stopped, and then the entire ship went dark. No sound, no beam, no war dot, just stillness. Then, piece by piece, the massive ship folded in on itself, shrinking, dissolving into a storm of tiny lights. It didn't explode. It simply vanished. Jason fell to his knees in the water. He waited, watching the sky. Nothing came back down. Only stars. Only silence. He looked at the containment key in his hand. It had turned to dust. Hours passed. Jason sat by the pool, the sun rising behind him. The yard was quiet again. Birds returned. Wind moved gently through the trees. Nature, unaware of how close it had come to burning. Then something sparkled in the water. A small orb. Jason leaned in. It floated to the surface. He picked it up. It glowed faintly warm in his hand. Inside, a shape moved. Not clearly, not fully, but familiar. A flicker of silver. And a voice, soft, gentle. "Jason, I'm still here." His eyes filled with tears. She hadn't died. She had transformed. Kalira didn't return in body, but she had become something new, part of the earth now, part of the light, part of the pool that had first awakened her. Jason built a quiet garden around the pool. No signs, no names, just peace. Sometimes, when the wind was still and the stars were bright, the water would ripple in a perfect circle, and he would sit by its edge, listening, knowing she was there.